Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Last week, filmmaker and UFO investigator Jeremy Corbell appeared on the Russell Brand show online. I'll leave a link for all these things so you can check it out for yourself. And basically, he made some statements that he knows for absolutely certain, basically, that there's a reverse engineering program ongoing that is basically reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology. Joe Murgia, the also known as the UFO guy, he's an influencer online. He talks about UFOs all the time. He had a tweet about this where he actually provided a partial transcript of what Jeremy Corbell was saying, and I'm going to go through this. Joe says, "Wow, huge claims. Share this far and wide. I'll do my best to get other folks to confirm if this info is accurate." And anyway, here's a partial transcript from things that Corbell was telling to Russell Brand last week. He says, "I know for certain, and it has been proved to me beyond a shadow of a doubt, that we have full, intact craft and machines that we've been trying to reverse engineer. As I've said before," and this is Joe Murgia says this. He says, "As I've said before, I was fortunate to meet one of the whistleblowers last summer, and I hope everybody else gets the same privilege if they go public. That person is extremely sharp, so good luck to the debunkers in trying to discredit them." And anyway, continuing with Corbell's comments, he says, "And I'll just say it, man, these machines, they're not from here. Whoever built these appeared to be a non-human intelligence. I know for certain that there have been limited comms or communications with whoever these builders, we'll just call them occupants or builders of these craft, are. Now, are we being told the truth when we've had these communications with these builders or occupants, right? And that I have no idea. How could I possibly know? But I do know that we have reverse engineering exploitation programs for non-terrestrial technology, and I have brought forward witnesses. I have brought forward witnesses publicly as well as privately. I've brought witnesses forward so within government. People know who they are, and I will be bringing a lot more people forward that have actually worked on these technologies. Verified, bona fide, no mystery. They've been part of these reverse engineering SAPs, or special access programs. So look, man, it's happening." And according to Joe Murgia, the implications, according to the Corbell, the implications, if we have had contact for a long durational period, maybe we can't trust those we've had contact with. That's a big deal. And Corbell also says, according to Murgia, that the reason for the secrecy is that this tech can be weaponized and be used by an adversary against us. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff he says there, and I want to talk about all these things. For one thing, like I say stuff like this all the time. I know that, our government is reverse engineering. I just know it. I know it just like I know that there's polar bears out there and tigers in the jungle and sharks in the sea. Just like I know those things, I know that there's a reverse engineering program ongoing with alien technology. There just has to be. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, there's enough evidence out there. There's been enough documentation to prove that UFOs is a thing, and we also know that they've been covering this up for a long time, so obviously there's a reason for the cover-up. Now, again, like I've always talked about it, before I even go further on this, I've said this before. Like every now and then, it depends on how I feel at a certain point, right? There was a time when I used to say it was the reason for the cover up is because they're trying to reverse engineer this, right? And then I changed my thoughts on that over time to, well, it's probably because of the panic that would ensue because they just don't have any answers about what these visitors are up to. Right, and I had that stance for a long time, as a lot of people who listen to my podcast, who've been listening to my podcast for a while now, know that. And now, more recently, I've changed back to this reverse engineering. That's the biggest reason, the reverse engineering. And that's what it is. I think that is what it is. It's because of they're reverse engineering this stuff, and they're afraid that if it gets into the wrong hand, I mean, they want to keep it quiet because, if another enemy country where they get access to this, then whoever, I mean, it's obvious what happens. Whoever masters this alien technology first, right, is going to end up controlling the world. We'll have the ability basically to control the world. So I believe that that's the main reason. But again, at the same time, I just can't understand the reason for this long time cover up. I mean, at the same time, we don't have to know what's going on behind the scenes, right? We don't have to know the ins and outs of what they're learning during the reverse engineering process. That's okay. I get that. That's understandable. Totally understandable. But we can at the very least, we can get like some confirmation. Yeah, there's an extraterrestrial presence here. And maybe they know more of what they're up to. Or even if they don't know what no matter what, they could let us know these things. Those kind of things. We don't need to know, what they've learned or exactly how these machines work. They can give us like a general explanation for how these flying saucers and other alien contraptions operate, right? They could give us in generalities. They could provide that. But I mean, yeah, we don't need to know everything, because of the concerns with reverse engineering and the idea that possibly some enemy country or unfriendly countries, unfriendly people in the world might get hold of technology like this and then use it against us. I understand all that. That completely makes sense. But this cover-up needs to end at the same time. I mean, this is nonsense. I mean, we have a whole bunch of the mainstream media. We have debunkers running around, acting like useful idiots. At the same time, luckily, we do have people like Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, like people I talk about all the time, Lou Elizondo, that are trying to get this stuff out to the public. Christopher Mellon, trying to study these things, like scientists like Avi Loeb and Gary Nolan. There's certain people out there that are think that there's something to this. And actually, Jeremy Corbell is now saying that he knows for a fact that there's something to this. And see, the difference between what I say all the time is like, yeah, I say I know, but he's saying he actually, he knows, he's actually been talking to people that are telling him this, that they are actually working on this. So that's how he knows for a fact. And he's not telling us, obviously he's not telling us everything. For all we know, they might have even showed him evidence, to his face. I mean, we just don't know. But he's saying that it's all going to come out. And, it is going to come out at some point. Hopefully this year, hopefully 2023 is the year that this nonsense ends. I would hope so. At least get the confirmation from the government. The government, or again, it's the secret control group. I mean, again, it's not the whole Pentagon. I would say again, like I always say, 99% of the Pentagon. I would say that at least probably that do not have a need to know. There's a secret control group, and there are some Pentagon officials that are associated with that, along with some people in the weapons manufacturing business that are working on this in secret. And the Pentagon is basically acting like, to me, what's going on a lot of the time, there's a secret control group, and then there's some officials in the Pentagon who some may know a little, some may know nothing, right? Right, some may know everything, right? But there's some officials within the Pentagon that basically act like a bodyguard to the secret control group and just keep coming out to the public and the media and telling them, hey, there's nothing to this. Yeah, we have no evidence of extraterrestrials, blah, 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 blah. But of course, then again, though, there are some of us who have studied this enough at this point, and we know for a fact that there's an extraterrestrial presence here. We know, some of us know for absolute certain, right? Because again, just like some people have, stepped forward and talked with people like Jeremy Corbell personally and told him to his face that, yeah, I've worked on this stuff. Yeah, this is extraterrestrial. Yeah, just like that, right? He has that kind of proof. There's some people, like me, there's, millions of people like me out there who've actually seen these things up close and personal with their own eyeballs, right? And have actually encountered alien beings that are obviously not humans, that are somehow, doing something here and, interacting with the human race. So we know that. So, but it's very interesting. And it's good to see this kind of stuff because, we have been getting basically recently the mainstream media is, recently it's been a joke. We have stupid, there's an article recently this last week that came from John Greenwald from the Black Vault. I read the article like 3 times, and he's quoting anonymous sources. Basically, to me, right, it looks like it's just an attempt to discredit Lou Elizondo. I mean, and there's really nothing there. There's really no evidence there, but he makes it sound like there is. And so I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know what's wrong with that guy. You know, I appreciate the stuff Greenwald does with trying to get Freedom of Information Act, you know, filing Freedom of Information Act requests all the time for UFO stuff. But for some reason, apparently, I guess it has something from things that I've learned from other UFO researchers, like Rob Heatherly over at Military Witnesses to UAP, like he's was talking recently about how you know, Elizondo was supposed to have Greenwald, you know, won an interview with Elizondo. Elizondo was at one point about a year or so ago. Elizondo said he wasn't going to have any more do any more interviews for a while, and Greenwald wanted to get that final interview, and Elizondo didn't give it to him, and I think apparently Greenwald got upset about that. That's what it looks like. I mean, that's what it possibly is, you know. So that's why he's, you know, playing this game. You know, I guess he feels like he's been spurned. Similarly, to, you know, the same way with this this other, actually a UFO believer, Stephen Greenstreet, who turned into a debunker and basically tries to you know, ridicule the whole topic now, surprisingly. So I don't know what's going on with some of these guys. I don't even want to talk about them. To me, they're non-stories. To me, those guys are, like, right now, when I look at Greenwald and Greenstreet, they look like people who are just reaching at straws. They're trying to get attention over nothing burgers. Greenwald, meanwhile, seems like he has, you know, I don't know. He's trying to make which doesn't make any sense to me. He's trying to make Elizondo look bad, right? Lou Elizondo. He's trying to make him look bad when it's, you know, all these years the Pentagon. It's been the Pentagon that's been doing this cover up, right? It seems like now when it comes to Elizondo, he's more willing. Greenwald is more willing to sit there and listen to the to what the Pentagon says or any kind of documents that they provided with regard to Elizondo. So it doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any, I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, the Pentagon, here's what I always say. When it comes to the UFO subject, you cannot trust the Pentagon. That's period. That's it. You can't trust, when it comes to UFOs, you can't trust the Pentagon, right? They'll smear you, they'll ruin your life. These kind of things have happened throughout the decades, right? And apparently they don't like what Lou Elizondo did. When, you know, Lou Elizondo, as we all know, stepped out of the shadows in 2017, and along with him, somebody leaked those 3 videos, you know, that we've been talking about, you know, for the last over 5 years now. And ever since then, it seems like there's been an effort. You know, there's been obviously some effort behind the scenes. Some people within the Pentagon are trying to, you know, put the genie back into the bottle, push the toothpaste back in the tube. Right, you know, they came clean about those videos at first, and then they're trying to, you know, downplay it now. They're giving us nonsense. They just recently they did all this nonsense with shooting down the balloons and other conventional objects, which was just all a big show for nothing. There's nothing to all of that. Again, I've talked about that. I'm not going to get into that again, but the fact is that the Pentagon has been trying to put the toothpaste back into the tube. But yeah, I don't understand, you know, how someone like Greenwald wants to basically smear someone like Lou Elizondo with this article. I mean, I'll leave the link for that too. You could check it out for yourself. But you know, it's nonsensical. I really don't even know what the point of it all is. I really don't. I mean, I was a reporter for what, 14 years. A newspaper reporter. I covered governments in different places across the country. Right? That article that he wrote was, I don't know what the point of it was. I really don't. I mean, he had an anonymous source from the Pentagon. How could you trust any of that stuff, for one thing? And the article really didn't make much sense to me. It really didn't. And I don't know what the point of it was. But again, it's like, why is the Greenwald's focus on something like that when the bigger picture is right in front of his face and he knows it? He should know it anyway. I mean, let me tell you something. There is an extraterrestrial presence here, and the Pentagon is most certainly lying about it. I know this because I saw one of these craft with my own eyeballs, and I've encountered one of those beings. So I know this for a fact, so I don't understand. I guess, you know, this is my problem. You know, some of these people out there, like these people who study this subject, they still, some of them, right, even though they're very interested and they're studying this, and there's all this data and information, all this eyewitness accounts, they still can't get themselves to believe it. They need something from the officials. I understand it. I get it, right? But if you're close to it, if you're somebody who's close to this, right? Someone like Green Street, someone like Greenwald, if you're close to this, you're focusing on the wrong things, man. You're just focused on the wrong aspects of this. You need to recalibrate because you're on the wrong track. Let me tell you something right now. Because in the final analysis, at some point, I don't know, again, it could be 75 years from now, it could be next week. Right, at some point, this is all going to come out. There's going to be something that's going to happen where it's going to come to an end. All of this nonsense is going to come to an end. All of this cover-up is going to come to an end, and we're all going to know that there has been a cover-up, right? And I don't even care about. Actually, right. Here's another thing. I just want to say this. I don't even really care about the cover-up. Once they come clean, I don't care about. Yeah. Some people might be filing lawsuits, and a whole bunch of people will be upset, and their feelings are going to be hurt. But you know what? I don't care. I think we move on from that. Right, I think we just move on. Okay, yeah, we get it. Okay, you're covering up. You waited too long, but hey, so what? Okay, what do you got? That's how I feel about it. I mean, in a way, I'm very pro Pentagon on this too. You know, in one respect, you know, I they're here, they're protecting our country. You know, it's I love what they do. Except the one part I hate what they do is with this whole UFO cover up. Now, again, there's a secret control group that's hiding in the shadows that's somehow got this authority. Somebody somehow was granted this authority to keep this a secret, and that needs to come to an end. And, you know, when it does come to an end, hey, we'll move on. And, hey, it looks like it might be coming to an end, you know, at this year possibly, if you listen to what Jeremy Corbell is saying. So hopefully he's right. Hopefully these people he's talking about continue to step forward. I'm assuming one of the people he's talking about has to be Dr. Eric Davis. As we know, apparently he's met with some people in Congress already. Dr. Eric Davis, of course, from the famous Wilson Davis memo. When he took notes during a meeting with Admiral Thomas Wilson of the Navy, who basically told him in 2002 that there is a secret control group, basically that has authority with this reverse engineering. But and Wilson wanted to see this stuff, and he wanted to be brought in on this, and they wouldn't let him. And he was told by his superiors that, stay away from it, don't worry about it, and if you keep pushing this, well, guess what? You're going to lose your ranking and all that kind of stuff, and we'll ruin your life. So there's probably more people like this. I'm assuming Eric Davis is one of them, and there's probably other people too that are going to step forward that Corbell is aware of, and that's very interesting. Again, the difference between what he's saying and things like people like me are saying is that he's actually been talking to some of these people who were telling him face to face. Where someone like me, I've done enough research to know that there most certainly has to be a government secret control group that has been studying this for many, many decades now.